Hi, Miss Zeglin here, and this video is about poetry. So, if you look at the definition of what is poetry, for kids, you get over 12 million results. So there's a lot of different definitions, but just basically, poetry is a type of literature or artistic writing that attempts to stir a reader's imagination or emotions. Poets do this by choosing and arranging language for its meaning, sound, and rhythm. Some poems, such as nursery rhymes, are simple and humorous. So poetry can be all around us. The songs you hear and things like that can also be considered poetry. Okay, so our key words here are meaning, sound, and rhythm. And one thing about poetry is that many people feel it should be read aloud if possible, that it needs to be heard. This handout is about figurative language and ways that we analyze poetry. So what is figurative language? Figurative language is language which cannot be taken literally. So, for example, if I say figuratively before lunch, I'm starving. Okay, I mean I'm really hungry. But let's say I literally, in a situation, if you think about a long walk to water, when Salva was crossing the desert, he was literally starving. Okay? So when people say literally, it should mean something that is true. And in poetry a lot, you are going to have a lot of different types of figurative language. These are just the basic ones we are going to go over. And in the box on the right, you will have a chance to put in your own examples with your partner. Okay, so these are the definitions. And you can also look above the windows. There's some more examples for you that you can use. So under Microsoft 365 in your notebook, under poetry, you will put all of your examples here. Okay, so the first one, and I'm going to go a little bit quickly, is metaphor. This is the type of figurative language you might see in a poem when two words are compared without using like or as. So my example might be love is a rose. Okay? Simile. When two words are compared using like or as. So for this example, I'd say love is like a rose. Okay? Hyperbole. Exaggeration, extreme exaggeration. So again, you could say, I'm starving, okay, to mean you are hungry, figuratively, and that is an extreme exaggeration because you are not starving. Okay, you're not going to die, you are just very, very hungry. And interestingly enough, this will come up when we're reading The Giver, which we will do next. Next one, onomatopoeia, a word that imitates a sound. I'll just fill in these examples here. Word that imitates a sound. One I always think of, buzz. It's just a quick one, and I'm sure you know some other ones. Idioms, an expression that is not literal. The one that always comes to mind for me, it's raining cats and dogs. Okay, that means it's raining hard. Doesn't mean, we have this going on outside. Okay, they're not coming from the sky. Okay, that would be the literal meaning. If cats and dogs were raining down from the sky, okay, that would be the literal meaning. Figurative meaning is just it's raining really, really, really hard. Okay, so keep that one in mind. Personification. When we give human qualities to an object or animal. So when you have a cartoon where the animal character is talking, I always think of Ratatouille. The rat is a chef cooking, all of that, that is personification. And this one I think is pretty easy to remember because you have the word person in the definition. 7, alliteration. When words at the start of a sentence have the same sound. So if you say, it's dark, deep, and dangerous. Okay, so the sounds that are the same are the duh sound. Okay, and alliteration is at the beginning of the actual word. Okay, other words that help us analyze poetry that we will go over: imagery, language that appeals to the 5 senses. It is descriptive language. So when you have anything, that goes into, taste, touch, sound, hearing, all of those things, this would be imagery. So when you have, language that you can picture in your head when you're reading it, that is imagery. A symbol, something that stands for something else. And in literature, one that I always remember, water can represent emotion. A road, you're going somewhere. Train tracks, a journey. Things like that. It stands for something else. Irony can be hard to explain, but it's the opposite of what you expect to happen. And, you'll often hear people say, that's ironic. Tone, the attitude of the poet. And you can tell what the attitude is a lot of times by the diction or word choice. Mood, the feeling of the poem. How does it make you feel? Sad, happy? Is it humorous? What is going on in the poem? Again, we go to the word choice. And these last two, rhyme and rhythm. Rhyme is the repetition of vowel and consonant sounds at the end of words. And there's different types of rhyme: internal rhyme, slant rhyme. Usually, a lot of times what we see is end rhyme. That's something we see in poetry. But one thing you need to know is not all poetry rhymes. And then rhythm is the pattern of stressed and unstressed syllables, and that was in the brain pop that we watched. Okay, the next video will be on the Big Six. This is just a quick way we're going to use to analyze poems, and you can watch that in the Poetry 2 video. Thanks for watching.